Hello to everybody. How are you? You can join me if you wish. We can have a discussion for a couple of minutes. Hi Shima. How are you? Hi Ahmed. How are you? Yeah. Hello to everybody, and I hope you are doing well. You can also, yeah, you can send me a request so that we can have a free discussion. Cool, I am pretty good. Thanks for asking. Fantastic. Hi, net classes. Net classes, yes. Are you a teacher? Yeah, you can join me, you can ask me questions. It is up to you. If you have any specific question, you can ask. I have a couple of minutes, and then I will go back to work again. Yeah. How do you spend your time these days? You go out? Are you wearing masks, let's say? How do you spend your time during yes, Corona time? How do you spend your time during Corona time? What are your plans? Do you go out with some precautions like, wearing mask, or at least, let's say, paying attention to social distancing? How do you spend your time? Are you studying English? And what do you study? How do you study? These are the common questions that I can ask from you. You can simply answer these questions. How do you protect yourself from COVID-19? What are your precautions? Do you usually wear mask, or you just neglect it, or you just belittle the importance of mask? Sia, hi, how are you? Are you okay? Arin. Hello, Arin. I hope I can pronounce your name correctly. Are you Iranian? Good night. It is good evening actually here. It is evening. Yeah, pretty good. Thank you very much. I am fine. Thank you. Hello, Esra. How are you? It has been a while that I haven't been having online, let's say, I haven't been going live on Instagram. Hi, 23 Mahta. I remember, but I forgot your name. How are you? Seliquisp. Hi, yeah. How are you? Are you okay? How's it going? Not bad. Yeah. We are actually trying to adapt ourselves to the current situation, but of course, it is, I think, getting better. People actually accepted the fact that this virus will stay with us for a while. At least I can easily say that. Ahmed, did you miss the club? I have a club, Ahmed, at 6:10 on which day? Tuesdays, yeah. Mahta says, I want to learn speaking English. There is no specific technique. There is no specific magic, okay? You have to totally accept it. If you want to improve your speaking, you definitely need to practice it, okay? I mean, what is my psychology? What is my policy? I always say, you need to practice speaking. You need to practice those vocabulary that you have just learned, step by step, step by step. Practicing is good, but the systematic practice is actually very important. Could you please tell me answers for how is it going? How is it going? You can say pretty good. You can say not much. You can say not bad, fine, so. You can also answer this question like that. Okay. Who is here? Net classes IR. Hold on. Myself in Instagram. Hello, Siyar. Siyar underline Tunç.
Hi.
Hello, man. How are you?
How was it going?
Pretty good. Thank you. Thanks for asking. What about you?
Oh, I'm pretty good. Oh, thank you very much indeed. How are you today?
Cool. Not bad. As usual. As usual. We are trying to actually adapt ourselves, as I was actually mentioning this, adapt ourselves to the new system. This is the new system, actually. Apparently, you're from Iran. Firstly,
Oh, yeah.
of course, I saw it in your title, in your name, because netclasses.ir.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, netclasses.ir is a website providing readers with good materials of English. Lots of books
Fantastic.
are available there to be downloaded and be studied.
Great. How lovely. How nice. So apparently you're a teacher, most probably.
As a matter of fact, to be honest with you, I majored in engineering and I was graduated from Shiraz University of Technology. I have an MS of telecommunication engineering. My specialty is electromagnetic fields and waves. However, as you mentioned, I am an English teacher because I was studying English since I was a teenager.
Cool. How lovely. How lovely. Fantastic. Nice to meet you. Pleasure. It's my
Me
pleasure
too.
to meet.
You too.
cool. Very nice. How long have you been teaching?
Well, from my best recollection, I was an English teacher as soon as I turned 18. I
Ooh.
was so young as I commenced teaching. That was a little tough for me because I was, actually it took me a little time to find my feet as an amateur teacher. Little by little and a step by step, I just passed some course in, teaching afterwards.
And gained experience.
That was so cool for me. I
Fantastic.
always missed teaching as I was studying engineering and vice versa, as I can call it.
Yeah, normally, yeah, engineers love to teach English. I don't know why. I haven't found the relationship. Maybe I think, of course, I am joking. The main, let's say, relationship maybe can be the passion, of course, because once you, especially adults, that once adults love doing whatever they are doing actually. This process creates a sort of passion, right? An interest. So, and then you say, okay, I learned English. I really love it. I am totally interested in, and I can teach it. I feel that I am successful in it. So why not? This is my, perception from how can I say, those people who are not actually studying English teaching or related, fields.
Teaching and lecturing are quite chalk and cheese. I am sure. I'm sorry. What have you studied at university? What is your
English language
major?
and literature.
So you have been studying literature. Lots of my friends have been studying teaching, and they are studying maybe PhD. A friend of mine has been studying English teaching, and he is graduated from Washington State University. He is so fluent in English and teaching.
Sure.
Teaching has none to do with knowing English because English is a language. However, teaching is a kind of engineering, in my opinion, to teach something like language. Teaching and lecturing are totally chalk and cheese because lecturing is conveying the meaning, but teaching means learning afterwards. There
Of
is not
course.
just teaching. Teaching and learning, are a kind of interactive counterparts. They are not separated from each other. However, when it comes to lecturing, there is just actually kind of a microphone and just saying da da da, lots of things, and say goodbye at the end of the class. This is not
Exactly.
the case in teaching.
Exactly. Totally correct. Yeah, totally correct. Of course, I always say, I'm not just talking about the, teaching English in every field, in every situation. If a person cannot explain something in a really basic and simple way, let me look into the camera. If a person cannot explain something in a really easy and basic way, it means that that person actually hasn't learned that specific material himself or herself. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I have to be very frank in this. Of course,
I got
not
it.
my
I
fault.
got
I
it.
mean, it is sort of related to philosophy. Philosophers actually say that. They say you need to be very, sometimes you read a book, a translation. Oh my God, you understand nothing. What the hell is going on here? What do you want to prove? You want to prove that, oh, you have a wide range of vocabulary or what? I mean, why, how can I say, the translation is not clear enough, is not easy to understand. Why? This is a problem, of course. And of course, we can say, I mean, actually, I am telling this to approve what you have just said.
Oh, thank
Totally
you.
correct. Of course, while teaching, we are learning, and we are actually practicing that too. We are practicing that specific subject matter by conveying it to students, hopefully in a sort of really easy way. So which leads a fruitful and so productive, how can I say, I don't want to say consequences, but of course result. Understand?
Yes, I got it. I got it. Yeah, you are right. You know, unfortunately, in my opinion, nowadays teachers lag behind the previous ones as I was a student at, in English institutes. Unfortunately, teachers are not fruitful enough to teach students, the proper materials. Sometimes even they lead students astray. I don't know why. I remember I used to learn English. However, when it comes to teaching at the moment in the institutes, most of the students are learning vocabularies or idioms or maybe grammar. This is not English. This is grammar. This is an element of English. This is not English. I want to say, directly to whoever is going to watch this conversation, either either a student or a teacher, to look for English, not elements of English.
Sure. Exactly. So who is this person? I also underline Sky class. So I mean, I don't think that you are in a good form of psychological state, ma'am. I mean, this is so ridiculous on social media. Okay, so yeah, I'm a student. Yeah, so yeah, magnanimous, fantastic. Okay, then what? I mean, what is this? I mean, I don't understand it. Uh, yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, it is possible. So let me kick this person out. You know, everywhere you go, there is someone who wants to just show himself or herself off. I don't understand it. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, I was talking about the pure English, not the elements. In my opinion, English consists of four, skills. I mean, the main four skills. Unfortunately, most of the students, as well as teachers, are looking for elements. The elements of language, or I don't know, even English, to be specific. They are four elements like words, pronunciation, grammar, and meaning. This is not something that we are going to learn. This is not something to be more influenced in. We are going to be influenced more in listening, and after that, speaking, reading, and after that, the next level is writing. That is something I just consider to be telling you, and as well as other people watching us, to be looking for skills, not elements.
Of course. So how can you propose that? I mean, what is your tactic and strategy for students, let's say, language learners? This is better.
Oh, good question. Thank you for that. Actually, I think it is better to play, to play soundtracks in the class instead of just write down, a few words on the, whiteboard or so. I think it is better to motivate students to talk more in class. The first thing I remember I learned in my English class when I was a student was introducing myself. Hi, my name is Reza. My first name is Reza. My last name is Rashidi Tabar. This is exactly English. I am. Instead of saying, okay, so this is SVC, I am Reza. Okay, this is good. I'm not going to, be harsh on that. But For example, when I say this is SVC, and at the first glance, this is not going to take effect. I think it is better to be more practical in English classes instead of being so theoretical.
Fantastic. Exactly. Exactly. It should be like that. But of course, what you mentioned is basically related to teaching style, right? I mean, from a student perspective, what can students basically do to improve their, as you said, skills?
Well, first of all, in my opinion, a teacher has to mention that you should bite the bullet.
Okay, sure, of course. But how?
Actually, my class, as soon as it starts, I just mention the placements of language learning. According to Common European Framework, the students are divided into six, placements: A1, A2, B1, B2, 6-1, C2. As soon as they, hear this, they say, okay, we want to be C2. So how long does it take for us?
Yeah. Cliché question. Exactly.
My answer is that it totally depends on you. This is not something to be prescribed for you.
Exactly.
I cannot prescribe that. This is exactly depending on you, the style of studying and the amount as soon as the time of that. Unfortunately, this is not something to be told to students. However, I think in my vantage point, the perspective that a teacher has to show in an English class is not about being so, I don't know, fast in learning English. This is not something to be telling the students, okay, within 6 months, you will be this level. No, this is not something correct.
It's ridiculous, yeah.
That's it.
So
that's it.
You mean that is totally actually it is actually that depends on the students' skills, students, as you said, amount of time that they are actually spending on learning it.
Yes.
And yeah, exactly, definitely correct. It is so ridiculous to accept the fact that learning and getting fluent in English, let's say, and also in a year is so ridiculous and absurd for me. So absurd. I mean, I always answer this question by asking a question, because students ask this question a lot. They say, how long will it take? How long will it take? I say, I don't know. I cannot know that. But the answer would be like this. I ask students that, how did you learn your mother tongue? How long did it take? At what age you were so fluent? If you ask me the question, when I basically analyzing and paying attention to to kids, I would definitely say that a very nice appropriate age for being fluent in that language is 4 or 5 years old. The kid with, how can I say, with that level of language is so fluent at 4 or 5 years old, when he or she is 4 or 5 years old. So, in other words, I would say it would definitely take 4 or 5 years to be totally fluent. But of course, you have to study, and as I always say, you have to submerge yourself totally in English 24/7. Can you do that? Then what happens? Yes, of course. So next time, student is gone. Student makes a lot of excuses. So I cannot help them. Teachers or guides. We are facilitators.
Exactly.
We are not the prophets. We don't do any miracle. We have no miracle. We have experience. We have some knowledge. we are basically sharing this knowledge with our students. That is it. That is it. We are normal people. We are just sharing experience. We are the shortcut for the students, right? So I would say 70% or maybe 80% of this process of learning depends on the student himself or herself.
Exactly.
You're
Exactly.
just 20-30%. That is it.
Exactly. You are right, or maybe less, or maybe less. I believe that, you know, the process of language learning is 90% with the student and even 10% in the class. As an English teacher, I just you know, first of all, I just say practice listening at home. When it comes to English classes, I got just 1 hour and a half. I just dedicate I just dedicate about half an hour to listening practices, or to be more specific, listening tests, not even practices. Just playing a sentence and repeating that in a class by students one by one, and that is so. However, as an English teacher, I think studying, methods and to be revealed in the classes are of great essence. For example, in my opinion, for language teaching and language learning, a dictionary is the part and parcel of that. Of course, monolingual ones. You know, the pronunciation and dictation of words in English are chalk and cheese. They are totally different from each other. So there is a kind of alphabet called Phonetic Alphabet, IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet, that I used to teach them in the classes. I used to learn them in the classes. However, I don't see them in English classes anymore. I don't know why. Even my nephews and nieces are going to English classes and they don't know anything about that. That's really, you know, disgusting in my opinion, because everyone expects from English teachers to teach them to students, because this is a right of the students to be fully aware and taught of that.
Exactly.
This is something that I want teachers as well as the students to be, you know, aware that English phonetic alphabet are of great essence to be learned and taught. However, a dictionary is not dedicated to, you know, tell us about the pronunciation of the words. Another thing worth mentioning is about the function of the words. For example, it is an apple. So what is an it? What is an is? What about a? What about apple? What about perfect? What is the function of that in a sentence? This is something that a dictionary comes in. Next is about the definition of the word. And that is one of the main things that the dictionary is responsible for, because it makes us think in English.
Fantastic.
There is no Farsi in English language learning because we are going to talk in English. So this is not something to be translated into English from Farsi. We are not talking in Farsi. We are not thinking in Farsi. As soon as we are going to learn, to speak English. This is something in responsibility of, the dictionary. The next level is the examples, and that is activating a word into another language. As soon as we are going to have a word in our mind, there is no code. There is practice, not code. I don't know why people are going to learn words by codes, because codes are rubbish. I don't know. What's the philosophy of that?
You know, the philosophy of that is business, man.
Of course.
Speaking. That is business. You know, this is, you know, how can I say, to deceive people, to take their money, right? I mean, there is no, how can I say, easy way or shortcut to learn and be I am dealing with English for, let's say, 22 years. And I don't consider myself as a fluent speaker. Really.
Because no
Okay?
one expects
So,
you. You are
yeah,
a native speaker.
of course. So, but they are trying to look after, actually go for the, you know, code, as you said. And this is, as you said, rubbish and so ridiculous, really ridiculous.
You are
Don't
right.
waste your time. Don't waste your time on these stuff. Practice and expose yourself to English. Submerge yourself in English. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I always ask people, language learners, why do you want to learn English? Because I want to find a good reason. A good reason. That good reason can be a good motivation for the language learner. You know, if you don't have any good reasons, you are not motivated enough. You are not motivated enough, right? So
Yeah.
give me good reasons so that I can help you. So that I can help you. Don't make excuses. Trust your teachers. Okay? You know, for example, I don't know why it is happening to teaching industry, but for example, when we visit a doctor, we totally trust him or her, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And whenever, hello Sabah, and whenever they are actually prescribing us some medicine, some drug or whatever, we trust. We don't say why, but unfortunately, in teaching industry, in education, students have the right to question teachers. I don't understand that. If you don't trust me, I cannot help you, man. I can't. You need to trust me. When I say read this, you know, I remember like it was yesterday that I tell students, for example, dear students, you can study this short story. It can be really helpful for you. Okay. Then tomorrow they come and say, teacher, can we study this too? I say, I couldn't, you know, answer that. Because what I asked them was very simple, but they just neglect it. I don't understand it. Actually, I think students are looking for a sort of shortcut, which is totally wrong. There is no shortcut.
You are right. Unfortunately, something as you mentioned is a kind of case that each and every teacher in Iran has faced, is facing, and will be facing in the future. You are right. Unfortunately, the basic philosophy of language learning is something, as you mentioned, and that is a kind of purpose for that. You know, when it comes to learning language, communication tops others in terms of purposes that language learners and even language teachers are going to deal with. So as soon as we talk about communication, there is no way to learn idiomatic expressions dealing with the slangs and some outdated ones. Unfortunately, I don't know why so many people are going to show themselves off and say something that even native speakers are not aware. I remember.
I like that. I like that.
Exactly. This is so. I remember I myself have participated in GRE examination because I was going to study PhD at Tufts University, and I am banned from doing so due to the corona outbreak.
Oh.
Unfortunately, I participated in GRE examination, and as I am sure you were totally aware of GRE examination, the verbal part is so, I don't know, full of, or I don't know, steeped in lots of vocabularies that even native speakers are not aware of. I remember once I had I don't know, a live with a native speaker. I told her that the meaning of a zeitgeist. She said, zeitgeist? What do you mean by this word?
Yes, what do you
So
mean by this?
sometimes,
What does it mean?
zeitgeist is a kind of theme that, manifesting a kind of, era. For example, the zeitgeist of Sherlock Holmes movies goes back to, I don't know, 18th century and the current phenomena there. Anyway, so this is not something that we expect even native speakers to know all the vocabularies, all the lexical resources. This is not, something fair even. Because as I mentioned, my experience to you, even native speakers are not aware of lots of words.
Exactly.
This is something that we are going to accept it.
Exactly.
We are not encyclopedia.
This is a tragedy. This is a tragedy, actually.
Yes, you are right.
This is a tragedy. Maybe they want to, of course, it is a show off. And of course, maybe they want to say that they want to differentiate themselves. I don't understand that. I mean, that is not the case. We are not in a competition or something. We are trying to communicate. If I can understand you and you can understand me, it means that the mission is completed. It means
finished.
That is it. We should not just forget them. Forget them. There are a lot of people with different psychology and with different goals and dreams, and I would say hallucination.
You are right.
Yeah, I neglect that, really. A couple of minutes ago, there was a person who said, okay, you are this. Okay, yes, I am pretentious. I'm not pretentious. You are the pretentious person. So, I mean, these people, unfortunately, all the time, there is someone who can make your day bad, terrible, or I don't know what is the purpose. Yeah, like that. Unfortunately, these are the disadvantages of internet, social media, etc., which I totally should say that the whole world of social media is not real. It is fake. It cannot be real. Maybe you might ask why. The answer is so simple. On social media, everybody wants to say I'm happy, but when you talk to them in person, they are not happy. I haven't seen a person who is sharing their sad stories. Everybody is happy actually in the pictures. Every single person is happy, right? So this is fake. This is fake.
Right.
Of course, I don't want to change the topic, but there are lots of different people who are trying to prove something. Okay, give some pace and time for them to actually prove themselves. Okay, then what? Mr. Magnanimous, yeah, okay, then what? I'm totally okay with this. Totally okay with this. I mean, let them be happy. Let them be happy. If they are happy in that, by doing those behaviors, by showing those behaviors, okay, let them be. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, no, can do. Exactly. You are right. So tell me about, your teaching courses. What do you teach and what are you teaching?
Cool. Of course, the system in Turkey here is, of course, different. Of course, every country has its own system and regulations and etc. But normally, I focus on listening, speaking, and vocab. Normally, I focus on listening, speaking, and vocabulary, which is so obvious. For vocab, of course, we use some textbooks, course books, textbooks, whatever, and reading passages. We paraphrase them. Of course, I don't want to go deep in detail. we are trying to make students ready to talk. We are actually forcing them to talk and be fluent. At least at that specific level. This is what we do.
Well,
This is what we do.
well,
Yeah,
to be honest with you, the course book in which I am so interested and engaged with is American English File. I really like that because I think it's quite complete in terms of everything. Because I am familiar with Headway, Interchange. I don't know, lots of course books.
Yeah, I have checked all of them.
Yes, I think American English File tops others in terms of material provides students with, and when it comes to speaking, when it comes to listening, it actually tops others with lots of materials, and it gets everyone talking in the class. Maybe this is something that I make a relationship with that, because I think teaching has to do with making relationship with the staff and the students. Sometimes it is like something that I have been living that for lots of years. So I think American English File tops others. However, opinions differ and vary from person to person.
Sure.
There are lots of people who do not believe that American English File can be useful in their classes, and they do not make a connection with that. Sometimes some people say it is so boring. The materials and the stuffs are so boring. The students are fed up with that. And this is, actually the beauty of language teaching.
Totally correct. I don't believe in boring stuff, to be honest. But of course, I try to make the learning process a little bit interesting and absorbing and of course charming. But again, I have to connect this, I have to relate this topic to the medicine. Medicine or drug is always bitter, right? It is not sweet.
Exactly.
But we drink it, we use it. We are not complaining, we don't make any excuse, right? But because we believe in that. We believe in the power of the medicine. Although it is so bitter, it is not, quite absorbing or whatever. So if you really want to learn something, let me rephrase it. If I really want to learn something, I'm not just talking about English, let's say piano or whatever. I personally would not complain. I totally trust my teacher and try to pay attention to him or her. And at the end, I would seek result. Okay? But students are so interesting, maybe again because of the, how can I say, the whole social media stuff, the pop culture which is going on, the YouTube, this, that. Unfortunately, there is, abundant, how can I say, material available, fortunately, and of course, unfortunately. Why fortunately? Because we have it, fortunately. Why I said unfortunately? Because students confuse. Students basically confuse, and they don't know what to do, where to begin, and what to study from. So which is so confusing. In that case, I would recommend students to consult with their teachers. As I said, teachers here are facilitators and shortcuts for the students to fulfill and achieve their goals, right? Yeah, in that case, teachers can kindly and easily help them out. But the point is, the tragedy is, students normally, or let's say rarely, ask for help, and they do not listen. Okay, if you do not listen, imagine that you go to the gym. There's a coach. The coach comes and says, do this exercise with this, in this instruction. Okay, you have to do We don't say why, do we? We don't say that. We totally, focus, and we totally pay attention. And surprisingly enough, that coach only explains it once. Finish. Right? Here, unfortunately, again, in teaching industry, in education, there's no, how can I say, importance of teacher. Unfortunately, this is what I perceived so far. Actually, the students are neglecting the teachers. I'm not talking about everybody, but majority of them.
Yes, the majority of the cases are so, as you mentioned, the metaphor that was purely, in my opinion, true about the current situation of the institutes and the relationship between teachers as well as the students. Unfortunately, I don't know why lots of students are looking for a kind of tablet or capsule, I don't know, pill or something to just swallow that, followed by gulps of water, and the next day they can speak English fluently. No, this is not the case.
In their dreams.
Never ever happening. There are lots of unfortunately advertisement or maybe mesmerizing things available on social media, leading lots of people astray. I don't know why this is so. However, I think I am personally speaking as an English teacher to just show the pure English, the pure problems, the pure techniques of learning and or maybe sometimes enjoying English, because this is a journey. Learning English or learning anything is a kind of journey. There is no destination. So we gotta enjoy the seasides, lots of other things in our way to be more happy with something that we are learning. However, it's tough.
Exactly. This is, unfortunately, the tragedy in this industry, so to speak. But we have to deal with it. We have to desperately deal with it. As long as students are considered to be the customers, what happens? This is the result. This is the result. That is why they are complaining. That is why students are so choosy. Of course, I am not actually blaming it. It can be choosy thanks to technology, thanks to the ease of life that let's say technology has brought us. But if you put the education into the business, or let's say if you lead education with the business mentality and mindset, that is game over. This is the result. This is the confusion. This is the complaint that we are facing.
As a matter of fact, this is something, as you are mentioning, it deals with the pedagogical system of Iran. Unfortunately, we just experience a kind of pedagogical system containing and having the students maybe 5 or 6 hours a day in the pedagogical system. This is not so in the rest of the world.
Promising.
I got lots of friends studying in the United States or maybe Europe, China, I don't know, everywhere. The students are in the classes at least 12 hours or at least 8 hours a day, or maybe 12 hours sometimes. In that pedagogical system, English, literature, music, and they are taught in their pedagogical system. There is no way for students to go to other English classes, secluded, I can say, secluded from the pedagogical system. This is something that we are experiencing. There is no reason for me to go to English classes when I go to, pedagogical classes. Is there any special reason that I have to choose another teacher beside my other teachers to teach me English? This is quite devoted in something that deals with business. Unfortunately, I am going to blame the pedagogical system of Iran to allow such a case, and even not monitoring them. This is something as a kind of catastrophe we are witnessing.
Unfortunately, man, I have nothing to say about it.
As soon as we are going to learn English, we got to find a kind of establishment or institute to go to. As soon as we are going to learn music, we are going to find something else. As soon as we are going to learn karate, we are going to have something like, I don't know, somewhere else. So why should I go to a school? This is my question. What I am going to learn? Because even private classes are, dedicated to teach mathematics. So this is not a school. This is wasting time.
Yeah, of course, we can, of course, blame and question this system totally. Teachers can do that. But yeah, this is a sort of, as you said, tragic situation that we have to face. Actually, we are facing, and we have to find a way to face it and handle it. Unfortunately. Yeah.
As an engineer, I'm going to teach mathematics to my nephews and nieces. As an English teacher, I am going to teach them English. So, I don't know, the philosophy of going to schools.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't know. I have no idea about it. Of course, it is so controversial. It needs at least a couple of hours to discuss and, find out the weak points and strong points of this. Hopefully, we can find some strong points, but I don't think so. But yeah, education system is broken. It's broken. Unfortunately.
That's it. That's it. So I am not going to expect them even behave normally, because this is something exactly to be taught at a school.
Cool. I like that. Yeah. But speaking of course, English, we have some limited time, unfortunately, right now. Yeah. Students actually should be hardworking students, actually, and then they have to expose themselves a lot. What else? They have to, as you said earlier, listening is really important factor in learning, especially speaking. For example, for higher levels, I always say, before coming to the class, at least half an hour before, start to listen to something. I don't care about it. I mean, no matter what you're listening to. Of course, I suggest them to listen to some good stuff like news, for example. Why? Because unfortunately, students are not engaging enough, are not dealing with English enough during the week. The only place that they are practicing and exposing themselves in English is only language schools. Okay, so apart from that, normally majority of them do not work hard on that. So that is why our brains are so lazy, you know that. Our brains do not want to save the information easily. We have to force it, okay? So that is why our brains are so lazy. And imagine that you only, let's say, go to language courses only twice a day, and for 5 days you are basically and completely disconnected from learning, disconnected from studying, right? What happens? So our brain becomes so lazy, and I mean lazier. So before coming to the class, listen to something and make that engine work and get ready. This is my style.
You are right. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Because before coming to the class, I think it is better to take a lesson to something in English. Yes, you are right. Yes. Just to make a kind of introduction for learning English. And of course,
we are starting the engine actually. I mean,
exactly.
This is sort of engine, and we have to make it ready. And so we definitely need to start it and get it ready. So that listening can help, because you don't need to read, you don't need to write, you only listen and focus. Yeah, possible. For speaking, of course, you definitely need to speak. There should be no excuse, to be honest. There should be no excuse, especially in this day and age, thanks to internet again. Everybody has high quality telephones with high quality, let's say, cameras, microphones. Everybody's professional somehow. And people are using nice internet, hopefully, as far as I can see. And okay, social media, use social media as a tool to improve your speaking. You know, as you can see, there are, I mean, a bunch of teachers or language learners on Instagram, so to speak, who are practicing, who are trying to make friends. You know, you can make friends. This is the really the basic, how can I say, the goal of these conversations. And second of all, you can come out of your comfort zone. You can believe in yourself. You can face your problems, face your mistakes, face your imperfections. And once you accept it, then you're easy, you're free. You can easily learn. But if you do not accept it, you block yourself from learning. You block yourself from being a self-confident person. And, you know, this is it. People should use social media to learn. And it is possible. It is possible. And it is free. Surprisingly, it's free. But excuses, I cannot imagine.
Yes, of course, you are right. It is better to grab the chance to have a kind of conversation with natives or maybe non-native speakers.
Yeah.
Exactly, you are right. There is no difference. English is English with even a native speaker or non-native ones.
Exactly. Exactly, man. Exactly. But excuses never go to just end. There will be always a lot of excuses from students, unfortunately.
You know, exactly, that's the case because, you know, learning deals with excuses and teaching deals with, I don't know, something like pushes.
Exactly, exactly. But they can easily improve it, if they want, if they are passionate enough, if they really love, and actually if they need to learn, if they, as I said earlier, if they have reasonable reasons to study, in that case they can. If you don't have any reasonable reason, you're not motivated enough. I have to repeat myself again. You're not motivated enough so that it can lead the way for complaining and making excuses. Why not? Why didn't you do your homework? Teacher, it was hot. Can be. Good excuse, right? I have to say that we have only 22 seconds.
Okay.
Left.
So that was such a great conversation with you.
Fantastic, man. Likewise. Likewise. Thank you very much, man.
Okay.
Yes, Teacher Reza. Nice to meet you. I hope in the future we can have such conversations again.
Yes,
I hope.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay,
Take care of yourself.